Hi, everyone. I am Taylor Bannister. I am the outreach manager at the Historic Lincoln Theater, and we wanted to find a way to get connected with everybody in the community while we are facing this closure. So we are going to start doing some staff interviews, and we are starting with the illustrious Pirjo up above me. I don't know if I'm above you, and I don't know how that works. But so what we're going to do is we're just going to go through some questions and learn a little bit about our staff at the Lincoln. Pirjo, tell us about what you do with the Lincoln and what it is, your job title, and then what it is that you actually do throughout the day.
Yeah, my job title is lead house manager. I guess I've earned it since I worked at the Lincoln for over 20 years. So.
Yeah.
And what I actually do, it's just getting the house ready for movies and performances, open the doors, work with the volunteers, see that the performances go well throughout the night. And there are all kinds of challenges.
Yeah.
Those.
So really,
sometimes it's hard to think on your feet just at the moment, but usually things go well. People are wonderful. The patrons are really nice.
Yeah, and you are really you and the house managers are kind of more the face of the theater for us, I feel like, because you're who people see most. Our patrons see you guys. They don't necessarily see all of us that work in the back office. So you're someone that people probably recognize more, especially people that are there a lot. So you said you've been there for 20 years. You're one of our longest volunteers, employees, all of that. What other things have you done in those 20 years? You weren't always a house manager. What else have you done for the theater?
Well, volunteering myself. I actually started as a volunteer about 5-6 years before I became a house manager. At that time, Peter Heffelfinger was the executive director, and he asked me if I wanted to become a house manager. And I did. I was honored to be asked, but I was a volunteer at that time, like any of our volunteers. And I still like to do that. And I've been taking posters up to Bellingham for probably almost 20 years. Posting our events up there. It gives me a chance to go to Bellingham, visit with a friend, have lunch, walk around Bellingham. So
perfect. I would use that all the time.
Yeah, and I also always like to inform people, my friends, about what's going on. I sent them emails about what's going on, trying to get them to come to the theater. So just really love the Lincoln always have, and so. Wanted to succeed. Yeah.
What is your favorite thing about working at the Lincoln?
I think it's the people in general, meeting all kinds of different people, both volunteers, the patrons, performers. It's always a thrill to meet people from Europe, where I am from myself, be able to talk to the performers kind of behind the scenes. Everybody doesn't get to do that. So it's always interesting, really. The people and the talent that comes to the Lincoln, it's amazing. I'm always so amazed.
We are so lucky with our small community getting some really incredible performers in our area.
Yeah, and being able to see the local talents, the theater groups, from little children up to adults grow up, and it's like, I don't have children myself, but it's like being part of their families.
Yeah, I'm sure in 20 years you've seen lots of people go through just from little tiny and up through adulthood. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You've seen a lot of the staff kids. I know a lot of our staff have kids that are now going to college, and you've seen them since they were tiny, and my own kids now you've watched grow in the last couple of years. So, I love that.
Yeah.
What is your favorite show or event or memory from your time at the Lincoln? In 20 whole years, what's the best memory you have?
That is really difficult. There was a question about what's my favorite film, and I could not come up with one. I love movies. I like performances. I always have. and I take bits and pieces of many different events. I can't. It's hard for me to come up with just one particular. There's so many
Yeah.
memories behind the scenes, then on the stages and movies. It's yeah, and in movies I like the international like foreign films. Films that take place in other cultures, and I think even the performances, when it's cultural, when it's brings different flair, different culture to the Sketch Valley. That's what I like.
Love it. What if you could have any performance come to the Lincoln? So any show, production, Broadway show, event, performer, who would you most like to see on the Lincoln stage? What's your dream person?
Wow, that's a difficult one to to pick one, that's very hard, I think. Yeah.
Anyone? You like everybody that comes on the stage. You're a Lincoln diehard.
Yeah. I admire people who can be on the stage and entertain people and capture people's interest and passion, whatever. I mean, yeah, I just appreciate them all, really.
Oh, sweetest. Gosh, we're starting with you, and everybody else is going to be so mean sounding compared to you.
Well, I mean,
so
I also admire people really being excited about one particular or some particular people. I can't come up with anybody really. So maybe my downfall.
Okay. What about if you could spend the day with one famous person, currently living or dead, who would it be?
I came up with just one person somehow from a recent history, and she's still alive. She's young, so who knows? I might even be able to meet her. And her name is Greta Thunberg. She's an environmentalist, a young person who really has made a difference in the world and against her own odds and against what's going on in the world and environment. And I would like to see to find out what makes her tick, where she gets her courage and against all kinds of odds. And I mean, she's not a performer, she's not an entertainer per se.
No, that's perfect. That's a great one.
And when I was younger, Jane Goodall was one of my role models, and I've heard her in person in Bellingham a couple of times, and I felt wonderful to actually see her in person, even I didn't meet her totally. But yeah,
those are two very good answers. Both of those are incredible people.
Yeah.
So you said you can't think of a favorite film. It doesn't have to be one from the Lincoln. Any film that you've ever seen that you're like, I could watch that on repeat and not get bored of it anytime soon.
There's just so many. I mean, watching. I like foreign, like I said, foreign films and pretties. I watch KCTS at home a lot, and so I follow some series. And but I can't come up with one.
That's fine. No pressure. In your time at the Lincoln, so 20 whole years, what is one of the greatest changes you've seen to the theater? So in all of those years, whether that's part of the history that we've redone, something that we added that was brand new, what change most impacted you at the theater?
Yeah, I guess we definitely have seen a lot of changes. The physical changes, the getting new seats, getting new sound, lights, all those kinds of things. Yeah, just coming more to the 21st century, I guess. Yeah. Because I remember even in the concession, we just dealt with cash. We had a box underneath the desk, the counter, and we didn't have any cash registers. I mean, I mean, it was kind of quaint and fun too, but I think we had to update and be part of the technical age. So I think it's, even though it's hard, I find myself not being as tech savvy at all, or liking that, having resistance to it. But I think it's good that we have arrived in
yeah. Almost 100 years old. We might as well catch up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's good. Any experiences with our favorite theater ghost, Eldon?
Well, that's another interesting thing, because I don't think I've ever met Eldon, but early on, maybe 10 years ago or so, or even earlier, I felt a spirit in the theater, mainly in the basement area, but it was a female. It wasn't a man. And I sensed a person in her 70s or 80s, and kind of a grandmotherly type, older person. And I somehow related her spirit to being a trickster. She made things disappear and appear again, and just things without any kind of logical explanation. Things disappeared, and then they came back somehow. And I somehow connected that with the spirit, that she was just playing around. Always friendly, not. I wasn't scared, because I spent so many evenings, as we house managers do, late nights in the theater and in the basements, in all the different areas, and I was never scared. But I definitely felt like there was a spirit. But so I've been trying to think. I looked at the history. There was Mary, there was Alice. There were all these different women that were married to different Eldons, and
yep, you got that whole Decatur side that could have some people in there. I have not heard that before. I love that.
Yeah.
I bet it was Mary. Did you hear Mary is the reason that we call it Pine Street, because along their property she used to have pine trees growing.
Oh,
so
okay.
Pine Square in Mount Vernon is named that because of the Decatur house. Fun history fact for you, because I love to jump out with those.
Yeah. It seems I was playing with the names, and somehow Mary, that seemed to stick that name somehow. So I don't know.
Oh, I'm a little bit jealous. I kind of hope that I get to meet Mary at some point. I'm kind of a big fan of her.
Yeah, but she didn't stay. I mean, it was like during 1 year or so, I felt it. But then somehow I disappeared. But I never met Eldon, I don't think.
Well, yeah. I expect to hear more from the ladies that they've met Eldon. He seems to he appreciates ladies in the theater, but usually men alone. He's a little intimidated by them. Well, Pirjo, thank you. This was awesome. Thank you for being our first staff to get this done, and thank you for being one of our longest staff members at the Lincoln. Your work is obviously so important, and we so appreciate having you around to keep our history alive.
Yeah, and I've always felt like the Lincoln is my second home. I spent a lot of time there, and really wanted to succeed, and it has a big place in my heart and in the community. I'm sure always we've seen, and it's doing so much better. I mean, all the time, and so I hope we can survive this pandemic and come back strong again.
Yeah, I think we want to go home.
Yes.
We might be working from home, but we all want to go home too.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Pirjo.
Thanks, Taylor.